Hello everyone. Today I am here again with the chapter from the beginning of the time, part 2, class 11, history. So in this part we'll talk about the replacement and regional continuity model theory or the center of human origin. The issue of the place of the origin of the modern human has been much debated by the scholars. Two totally divergent views have been expounded, one advocating the regional continuity model with multiple regions of origin, the other the replacement model with a single origin in Africa. That means, according to the regional continuity model, the Homo sapiens originated in different regions, that means continents, and gradually evolved at different rate into modern human. The theory is based on the regional differences in the feature of present day humans such as the color of skin, height, color of hair, etc. According to those who advocate this view, these similarities are due to difference between the pre-existing Homo erectus and Homo sapiens population that occupied the same regions. According to the replacement model, human being first originated in a single region, which is Africa, and migrated to all the other continents. Those who support of this view take the evidence of the genetic and anatomical homogeneity of modern human, such as two hands, two legs, five fingers, two eyes, one mouth, etc. The enormous similarity amongst modern human is due to their descent from a population that originated in a single region, which is Africa. Early human way of obtaining food. Early human would have obtained food through a number of ways, such as gathering, hunting, scavenging, and fishing. First of all, we talk about gathering. Gathering would involve collecting plants, food such as seeds, nuts, berries, fruits, and tubers. That gathering was practiced individually rather than collectively. Fossilized plant remain are relatively rare, but plant remains that were accidentally burned result in carbonization. In this form, organic matter is preserved for a long span of time to find out evidences for food gathering by early human. Hunting. It is probably began later about 5 lakh years ago. The earliest clear evidences for the deliberate planned hunting and butchery of large animals come from two sites, Boxgrove in South England and Schwanningen in Germany. Then, increasingly, it is being suggested that the early hominids scavenged or foraged for meat and marrow from the carcass of animals that had died naturally or had been killed by other predators. It is equally possible that small mammals such as rodent, birds, their eggs, reptiles, and even insects were eaten by early hominids. Now, fishing. Fishing was also important, as is evident from the discovery of fish bones at different sites. Fishing was practiced from river, ponds, and lakes with hand, stones, and wood by the early human beings. Early human shelters. Pattern of residence of early human. One of the one way of reconstructing the evidences for pattern of residences, this is by plotting the distribution of artifacts. Some places where food resources were abundant, human visited repeatedly have more artifacts. In such areas, early human left behind traces of their activity and presence. The places that were less frequently visited would have fewer artifacts. It is also important to remember that the first shelter was tree, and which could have been shared by hominids, other primates, and carnivores. Between 4 lakh and 1 lakh 25,000 years ago, natural caves began to be used by them. Evidences for this come from sites in Europe. In the Lazareth cave in southern France, a 12 by 4 meter shelter was built against the cave wall. Inside it, there was evidences of stone tools and food sources. At another site, Terra Mata, on the coast of southern France, flimsy shelter with roof of wood and grass were built for short-term seasonal visit. As you can see in this picture, house made of stone and baked clay, and burnt bones along with stone tools dated between 1.4 and 1 MYA have been found at Kenya and South Africa. On the other hand, are indication of the controlled use of fire. They set several advantages. Fire provides warmth and light inside caves and could be used for cooking. Besides, fire was used to harden wood, as for instance the tip of the spear. The use of heat also facilitated the flicking of tools. Early human making tools. The use of tools and tool making are not confined to human. Some chimpanzees use tools that they have made. Certain and anatomical and neurological adaptation have led to the skilled use of hand and finger favored tool making by the early human. Moreover, the way in which humans use and make tools often required greater memories and complex organization skills, both of which were present in human. The earliest evidences for the making and use of tools come from sites in Ethiopia and Kenya. It is likely that the earliest stone tools maker were the Homo habilis. We do not know whether tool making was done by men or women or both. It is possible that stone tools makers were both women and men. Women in particular may have made and used tools to obtain food for them as well as to sustain their children after weaning. About 35,000 years ago, improvement in the techniques for killing animals are evident from the appearance of new kind of tools such as spear throwers and the bow and arrow. There were also needs such as trapping of fur-bearing animals to use the fur for clothing, and the invention of sewing needles. The earliest evidences of sewn clothes come from about 21,000 years ago. Besides, with the introduction of the punch blade techniques to make small chisel like tools, it was now possible to make engraving on bone, antler, ivory, or wood. Mode of communication, that means language. There are several views on language developments. The first user of language was the hominids. The hominids' language involved gestures or hand movement. Later, they developed another way of communication known as vocal but non-verbal communication, such as singing or humming. Homo habilis may have possessed a smaller number of speech sounds in the initial stage. Gradually, these may have developed into languages. It has been suggested that the brain of Homo habilis had certain features which would have made it possible for them to speak. Thus, language may have developed as early as 2 million years ago. The evolution of the vocal tract was equally important. This occurred around 2 lakh years ago. It is more specifically associated with modern human. Another suggestion is that language developed around the same time as art, that is around 40,000 to 35,000 years ago. The development of spoken language has been seen as closely connected with art since both are media for communication. Mode of communication, that means art. Hundreds of paintings of animals done between 30,000 and 12,000 years ago have been discovered in the cave of France and Spain. These included depiction of bison, horses, ibex, deer, mammoths, rhinos, lions, bears, panthers, hyenas, and owls. Several explanations have been offered. One is this because of the importance of hunting, the painting of animals were associated with rituals and magic. The act of painting could have been a ritual to ensure a successful hunt, such as a big animal was hunted by an individual, etc. Another explanation offered is that these caves were possibly meeting places for small groups of people or locations for group activities. These groups could share hunting techniques and knowledge, while painting and engraving served as the media for passing information from one generation to the next. The above account of early societies has been based on archaeological evidences. Clearly, there is much that we still do not know. Hunter gatherers society from the present to past. As our knowledge of present day hunter gatherers increased through study by anthropologists, anthropologist. Anthropology is a discipline that study human culture and evolutionary aspects of human biology of the past. Whether the information about living hunters and gatherers could be used to understand past hunter gatherer society, one group of scholars suggests that data from present day hunter gatherer society can be used to understand the past society. Ethnography is the study of contemporary ethnic group. It includes an examination of their mode of livelihood, technology, gender roles, rituals, political institution, and social customs. On the other hand, another group of scholars who feel that ethnographic data cannot be used for understanding past societies as the two were totally different. For instance, present day hunter gatherers societies pursue several other economic activities along with hunting and gathering. These include engaging in exchange and trade in minor forest produce or working as paid laborers in the field of neighboring farmers, and these societies are totally marginalized in all senses geographically, politically, and socially. Okay, now we are in conclusion. So here we talk about the development between 10,000 and 4,500 BC in early human life. For several million years, human lived by hunting wild animals and gathering wild plants. Then, between 10,000 and 4,500 years ago, people in different parts of the world learned to domesticate certain plants and animals. This led to the development of farming and pastoralism as a way of life. The shift from hunting to farming was a major turning point in human history. With the introduction of agriculture, more people begin to stay in one place for even longer period than they had done before because they have to take care of the crops. Thus, permanent houses began to be built of bricks, and even stone. Mud bricks and even stone. These are some of the earliest villages known to archaeologists. Farming and pastoralism led to the introduction of many other changes, such as the making of pots in which to store grain and other produce to cook. Beside, new kinds of stone tools came into use. Other new tools, such as the wooden plow, were used in agriculture. Gradually, people became familiar with metals such as copper and tin. The wheel, important for both pot making and transportation, came into use about 5,000 years ago. Even large concentrations of people began to live together in city. That's all for today. Hope you like this. Thank you.